Hi everyone. Today we're breaking down the plot of the sci-fi thriller Carriers. A terrifying virus has escaped into our world, killing people in agonizing pain. It spread instantly through the air and wiped out almost the entire population of the planet. Four friends, two brothers, Brian and Danny, Brian's girlfriend Bobby, and Danny's friend Kate, are driving a stolen car toward a place called Turtle Beach. They hope to wait out the epidemic there. The group avoids major highways as they pose the greatest danger. Their way is blocked by another car. Inside are Frank Holloway and his daughter Jody. Brian quickly rolls up all the windows. Frank asks for some gasoline in exchange for food and water. Kate saw that the little girl was infected. The group speeds off. An angry Frank manages to hit their window with a wrench. Unfortunately, while maneuvering around the obstacle, they damage the engine's oil pan on a large rock, and the car stalls. Danny and Bobby suggest negotiating with Frank, though Brian and Kate believe it's too dangerous. But there's no other option. The four friends take fuel canisters and return to Frank and his daughter. Brian threatens Frank with a gun and demands the car. However, Frank tells them that nearby, scientists have opened a pharmaceutical center where a new serum is being used to successfully treat infected people. Danny comes up with an idea. They place the father and daughter in the trunk, seal it tightly with plastic, and disinfect the car's interior. The group retrieves their supplies from the broken-down car, and Danny grabs an old childhood photo of him and his brother. On the road, Bobby plays with Jody through the plastic. Brian teases Bobby, gets slapped in the face, and the car nearly crashes into a ditch. Frank leans against the plastic, and a small tear appears. Horrified, Kate jumps out of the car and Danny follows her. They spot an abandoned car nearby. The brothers approach it, hoping to siphon fuel, but they discover the infected driver still inside. Danny reaches for the key as the gas tank is locked. The driver is suffering terribly but still alive. The brothers quickly take the fuel and drive away. That evening, the group decides to camp for the night. While Brian and Bobby have some alone time, the others sit around the fire. Danny talks about how they're heading to Turtle Beach, a childhood vacation spot. It's usually deserted and seems like a safe place to wait for the epidemic to end. Suddenly, they see a Jeep chasing a sedan and quickly put out the fire. An armed man jumps out of the Jeep and shoots the other driver. The next morning, the group passes a corpse with a sign on its chest. Blame the Chinese. Soon they arrive in an abandoned town. The infected bodies have been disposed of in thick plastic bags. The group finds a school turned into a relief center for the infected. Bobby stays with Jody while the others go inside. They find a room where the only surviving doctor is caring for a group of children. They ask about the serum. The doctor explains that the vaccine only works for 3 days, then the illness returns. The group is stunned when the doctor admits he plans to help the children end their lives to spare them further suffering. Frank begs him to save Jody, but the doctor says it's useless. The only thing he can do is make death less painful. Frank realizes his daughter can't be saved. Meanwhile, Bobby is playing with Jody. The girl starts choking, and Bobby tears the plastic open to help her. Jody coughs blood right into Bobby's face. When the others return, Bobby quickly seals the plastic again. Frank notices his weakened daughter lying in the back of the car. Jody says she needs to go to the bathroom. Her father tells her to go alone, but the girl is too weak and collapses immediately. Frank carries her and asks the others to wait. Brian has other ideas. He orders everyone to get in the car and hits the gas. While the group disinfects the car, Bobby secretly throws away her bloody jacket so no one will suspect she's infected and abandon her. The group decides to spend the night in a luxury hotel. Brian checks the pool, stumbles upon the body of an infected person, and almost falls into the water. Fortunately, his brother helps him get out. Brian messes around driving a golf cart, then gets thrown off and asks Bobby to help him up. She nervously hands him a golf club instead of her hand, afraid of getting infected. But Brian jokes around. He pulls her close and kisses her, which infuriates Bobby. The group decides to have a little fun and smashes windows in several hotel rooms, unaware that those rooms are shelters for another group of survivors. That night, Danny and Kate notice flashlight beams and hear voices in the hotel lobby. They run to the kitchen, grab knives, and try to hide. A man in a hazmat suit enters, notices the missing knives, and quickly captures the intruders. Outside, Brian sees another person in a hazmat suit, attacks him, and rips off his mask. Just then, several more people come out of the building. They aim weapons at the group and force Brian to surrender. The strangers accuse them of killing Larry, whose body was found floating in the pool. They order the girls to undress and discover signs of infection on Bobby's body. After that, they demand the group leave the hotel immediately, taking nearly all their fuel supplies. The next day, the group walks in tense silence. Bobby's infection weighs heavily on everyone. Kate asks Danny to talk to his brother about leaving Bobby behind. Danny tries to start the conversation, but Brian already knows what must be done. As they prepare to leave, Bobby begs them not to abandon her, but the decision has been made. Brian leaves her with a small supply of food and drives off, despite her sobbing. Soon after, the three survivors are almost out of gas. Brian spots a car blocking the road and refuses to let it pass. Danny sees two women inside and tries to negotiate for fuel on his own. But the women explain they're almost out of gas themselves and plan to leave. Suddenly, Brian pulls a gun and shoots the woman in the driver's seat. He orders the passenger to get out, but she shoots him in the knee. Brian returns fire and kills her. Kate silently siphons the gas without saying a word. Brian picks up a gas can to help, but Danny is shocked by the cold-blooded murder. The older brother slams him against the car, accuses him of being a hypocrite, and yells that he's the one who has to do the dirty work so the others can survive, while Danny stands aside and moralizes. The younger brother has no answer. He grabs the can and goes to get the fuel. The three continue on their journey. Kate takes the wheel due to Brian's injury. They decide to break into the nearest house to find medicine and treat the wound. All the doors and windows are boarded up, except for one window on the second floor. Danny climbs in and finds a dead old woman who died in her chair. He hears a noise downstairs, and when he comes down, he's horrified to see a large dog eating the corpse of an infected person. Danny grabs some antibiotics from a nightstand, but the noise alerts the dog. The enraged animal attacks, and Danny shoots and kills it. Covered in blood, he steps outside. Danny treats Brian's wound and notices signs of infection on his leg, likely from the kiss with Bobby. He tells Kate but can't bring himself to abandon his brother. The three hit the road again, with Brian isolated in the trunk. As night falls, they camp by a fire under the open sky. Brian takes the car keys so they can't leave without him. He eventually falls asleep from exhaustion, and Danny quietly takes the keys and gun. But Brian wakes up and begs not to be left behind. The pair realizes he swapped the car keys. "Kill me, or take me with you," he says. Brian doesn't want to die slowly and painfully, and he provokes Danny to shoot him. Danny burns his brother's body and says his final goodbye. The two of them drive off and eventually reach Turtle Beach. Danny remembers his brother and realizes that without him, this place will never feel the same. What did you think of Carriers? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.